Good evening, everyone, and skål, as my Norwegian friends say. Tonight, I'm very excited to share with you a new series here on Crockett Creek Homebrews. So, we're enjoying a little mead in our traditional Viking drinking horn. This is our rosemary hydromel mead. Now, for starters, I have a love for everything Viking. My family is descended from Viking heritage. My family originally came from the Normandy part of France, which was taken over, controlled, and eventually given to the Vikings by the King of France. I also have a lot of Vikings in my family tree. I've even seen the name Ragnar Lothbrok in my family tree way far back. But this is not a video about my family history. We are starting a new series here at Crockett Creek Homebrews. This is the Viking series. Now, this is going to be very interesting how it's going to go down. We're going to be making mead, and a lot of it. About 5 gallons of mead in 1 gallon batches. There are several meads that I've been wanting to make for a very long time. Almost all of these meads are inspired by Viking heritage in some way. Only one of them is actually historically, arguably Viking. And that recipe you already know. That recipe is my Green Dragon mead. That's what I've nicknamed it, at least. That is my rosemary black pepper mead. It's the best drink I've made to date. It is a 800-year-old recipe from Wales. It is a metheglin, contains rosemary and black pepper in primary fermentation, and it is remarkable. We will be making that at some point along the road of this series. We're also going to be making Viking's blood, which is several hundred years old. It's not a medieval recipe, it's not even a Victorian recipe to my knowledge. It is a cherry mead, which has its roots, namely in its color, which is a deep red resembling blood, and it is a mead, which is associated with Vikings. So that is the inspiration for Viking's blood. I've wanted to make one for a long time. I've made cherry wine and I've made tons of mead. So we're going to be making a cherry mead, which is called a Viking's blood. We'll also be making a spiced metheglin. This is what I am nicknaming Yule mead. This is going to be a mead spiced with clove and orange zest, clove, orange zest, cinnamon, allspice, and maybe a couple more ingredients if we feel like throwing it in. This is going to be a Yule mead, a Christmas mead. We're also going to be making a secret mead. This is an experimental mead that I've come up with a recipe for. The only thing I'm going to tell you about is its name. I have nicknamed it also. It is called Berserker Mead. Now, if you know anything about the history of Vikings, Vikings would take mead or other alcohols along with certain other ingredients and call upon their gods and go into a meditation or a trance and go into a berserker rage. These would be their elite soldiers, their Navy SEALs, if you will, to go into battle, destroy the enemy, maybe even sometimes their own allies if they got in the way, and utterly annihilate their foes. This is going to be a mystery mead for the time being. This is a recipe that I've come up with, I'm very excited about, but at the same time, it's going to be an experiment. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. It's a recipe of my own creation that I've never tried before. But you're going to be there alongside me during the journey. So, next week, I'm getting my large shipment of honey in. And that will mark the start of my Viking series. I can tell you already, we're going to be starting out with spiced metheglin, our Yule mead. Now, why am I making so much mead right now? Let me touch on that. Because I'm trying to become more patient, to allow my wines and meads and ciders to ferment properly, age properly, and reach their perfection. I'm beginning to plan out my wines and meads. I'm planning out their ABV. For now, almost all my wines and meads are going to be at 15% ABV across the board. That way, when I taste them again, I'm able to taste their intricate flavors with a ABV that's flat. It's straight across the board. It shouldn't interrupt my experience of tasting them in 6 months to a year. The reason I'm making my meads now is because meads take an incredibly long time to age. So, for starters, we're going to be making Yule mead. That will be our first mead to make in our series. That mead should be ready around about Christmas time of 2021. I'm very excited for this mead. I've seen a lot of recipes that use this type of mead. They all differ slightly with their ingredients. And I will differ slightly with my ingredients. I've never actually made this Yule mead before. All of these are going to be new to me. These are all meads I've been looking forward to. So, these are going to be aged for a very long time. At least 6 months before we try them. That's when my first bottles are going to be ready. And then the next bottles will be ready in a year. We'll probably have a few bottles in between that I'm not going to touch for at least 6 months. So these are going to have at least 6 months to a year of age on them before I drink any of them. These should be extremely good meads, I hope. But I want you to be there along with me on the journey for all of these meads. So next week, hopefully I'll make the video on Wednesday. You can join me as we start our Viking series. I'm looking forward to it, and we will see you then here at Crocker Creek Brewery. For now, I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rest of this horn. We'll see you on the next one. Bye now.